Hi, welcome to It's Open with Ilana Glazer. Just warning you, there's going to be an outfit change. I'm recording this from the future. Okay. Anyway, so welcome. My guest today is one of my favorite people on the planet. It's my brother, Eliot Glazer. So Eliot is my best friend. He's the best uncle I've ever seen and my brother, but he's also a comedy writer, performer, and musician. Eliot has written on shows like Younger, New Girl, and Broad City, and been on Broad City. And he's toured the country with comedy and music. And now I am so excited about his new role as author in his new book, The Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Gay. Please join me in welcoming and enjoying this episode with the one and only Eliot Glazer.
Hey, sister.
Hi, brother. Hello. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm at my last day of my New York stay.
Yeah, it's great when you're here. And I'd like you to stay longer.
I know. But when people ask if I'm going to move back here, you know, I'd want to be close to you guys, of course. But I think I'm just so overwhelmed by the city now.
Dude, I know.
Part of me likes LA because, like, having depression and anxiety, it's like I thought that the consistency of having the sun every day, which is not like actually what it's like, but the idea of having sun every day would be too much to take, but it actually does help. Mm-hmm. It does help with like mental health.
Yeah. I'm really feeling like cold and scared this winter, and I'm like having trouble separating the onslaught of dictatorship from my real life that's right before me. We were just talking about this last night, and it's also like the social media of it all and the Instagram of it all. It's like worms in my brain. Shout out to RFK.
Well, I told you the book that I'm reading, Filter World by Kyle Chaika, I guess is how you say it. You know, I'm still early in it, but he talks about how the huge change, the thing that really changed everything on social media that then permeated into the rest of culture, was the shift from the algorithm being chronological to being more mysterious, timeless, and as you're talking about, feeding you stuff that's going to make you feel huge feelings.
Yeah.
And for some people, that's anxiety, horniness,
right.
hatred,
right.
joy. But it's so much. The onslaught is so much that I don't know. I was saying yesterday, it's like living in here and everything being amplified on the screen just to you in your ears. It's like, and it could be anywhere. It's too much.
It's too much. With your niece and my daughter, when she's watching TV, what I like about TV is it's up on the wall and you see the whole world around it. And like we do the iPad for like the plane and stuff. And I just don't even want her to hold the phone because you get so lost.
Yeah,
you get so lost and you
here.
don't know, you really forget that I'm 38. I forget that there's like a world outside that frame that's in my face. On the subway this morning in my fucking train car, there and back, I'm like looking around and everybody's obviously on their phone.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we're specifically being pulled into different realities. My algorithm is so different from your algorithm.
Yes.
It's so messed up.
But that's what a lot of what this book is about, or at least just having started it. Such a big thesis is the idea that everything shifted with that change, that mysterious change in the algorithm. And it's true, because everything about that shift and change means you went from a chronological record of friends and family, and their like daily lives, to something so much more nefarious and explosive, which is like brands, news, quote, news.
I know. I was struggling with this last night, and you were like reminding me this is like citizen journalism. And it's like, you look at CBS now and it's like so scary that what used to be.
They were the gold standard in news.
I did Good Night and Good Luck. That's like Edward R. Murrow. CBS is now, this like state sanctioned propaganda machine.
At the very least, it's like having Barry Weiss, who's never been in like a newsroom, I guess, where she had the Free Press, I think, which was her own sort of like gonzo weirdo libertarian, like, I don't know, the vibe is so
The vibes
scary.
are so rotten.
I don't think necessarily that people even know day to day or maybe they don't even care that something like CBS, this like huge, I mean, they were the golden child of the news that was Walter Cronkite. That was what, but now that it's been replaced with Barry Weiss at the helm, it's so wild.
Crazy. It's so crazy. And I'm like, there's like supposed to be checks and balances. And we were also talking earlier about like the New York Times, that there's like still some good people eking their way through to get their stories written, but
I still trust them. The Times is still more reputable than, well, even like with Mom sending us an article that she saw yesterday, and it was like clearly not true, and so like just
a screenshot. It was a screenshot from a Facebook article, and it was like, and you're right. It was like, Jon Stewart gives $190 million to homelessness.
People. And I was like, in a second, I was like, A, this doesn't seem true. I don't think that seems true. But the article itself was written that way, but it's in a Facebook post. And I'm like, it says like posted by like U.S. Citizen News. And I'm like, never heard of that. That doesn't sound real. I Google it. It's totally fake.
And I was like, Jon Stewart.
I just don't trust
But
anything.
You know what you said that was like so true, is that it's like mom bait, like leftist mom bait, like meant to confuse our elders.
Yeah, like I hate saying fake news because it validates Trump's dumb vocabulary, but the idea of this fake news being real and her catching it and it being meant to sort of lighten up, like, I guess, the progressive Democratic left, the idea, Jon Stewart, our our patron saint giving hundreds of millions of dollars to the homeless. And it's like, A, it's not true, but also, why is this there?
And like also the fake news thing, like he and they always say their own crimes at others. And it's like, after Renee Good was killed by ICE, all the, instead of fake news, let's just call it lies, like all the lies that were stated about her and stoking people's fear and vulnerability. It's so, I really am having trouble right now. Like feeling sane, feeling safe. It's just a fucking hellscape.
Yeah.
And the algorithm thing, like, as you say, first of all, I was thinking about like RFK earlier, and I'm like, why would he want to eliminate the measles vaccine? Really? Like, what is the point of like having all these children die and people die? And as you're talking about the algorithm, like it used to be, at first it was like chronological before Mark Zuckerberg bought it. It was just a cute app. He also used to have the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative. He and his wife were pro-democratic organizers and donors for years before he took such a hard right turn. But I was thinking about the RFK thing, like, it's like, it just makes you think of like a white man in a cult who's like controlling a town, just has crazy ideas. But like, why is this person placed like in this position in charge of like the United States of America? And it's just to weaken people. It's just to like terrorize, to control the general population. And the Zuckerberg thing, I was thinking about the algorithm, and it's like, okay, at first it's like cute and it's like a timeline thing. Then it's like selling us stuff and brands, like toxic, but not as evil as what's happening right now. Just manipulating our emotions, just making us feel huge inflammatory feelings so that we're, it's like when you let a balloon go and it just...
Yeah, it's a mess.
It's a mess. We're like in a chaotic mess right now.
I watch The View every day.
I know, it's really smart. It's really like hitting me. How that to me is like mainstream news and mainstream discourse.
Well, they're owned by ABC News, so they're quote unquote legitimate that way.
Right.
But if anything, they're like virulently anti-Trump in a way that I think even they probably regret at the network. And having read about it, I think there was this rumor that like they got a talking to once Trump came in and they had to like cool down on Trump. But, Joy Behar and Whoopi and Sunny Hostin, like they're clearly liberal, but Joy is always the one who like breaks through the noise. And there's a clip that I saved on my phone of her. It was one of those weeks where it was like Trump did so much damage. Everything was so inflammatory and so violent.
Scary.
And it's like a morning, it's like the View is like this cheery, happy morning set. And she's just like, I don't know how we're going to survive the next 4 years. And her co-hosts, like the happy-go-lucky ones, were like, what, like kind of, like shrugging it off.
Yeah.
And she's like, I mean it. She's like, every day, like he assaults something, some tenet of society. Every day he, obfuscates or just, there's some violent action every day that undoes or changes or attacks or minimizes. And she's like, I don't know how we're going to, she goes, I don't think we can survive this. And the other two hosts, or a few of them, were like, of course we can. Like, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. And they're trying to like be morning show people. And she's just not that. And she's like, I don't think so. Like, it was so human and pessimistic, but real. It was such realism where she's like, you could see it was like an existential dread.
Wow.
Where she's like, I don't know how we're going to survive this. And like, oh, we will. It's fine. And she's like, no, I've been through Vietnam. I've been, I think she was alive during she's seen so much. And she's like, I've never seen anything like this.
Wow.
But even mom and dad always say, we never could have expected the world to look like this.
Yeah. These people are supposed to be motherfucking fringe. They're supposed to be fringe.
Yeah, they're supposed to be like freaks on the periphery.
Right.
People who say crazy things, anti-humanist things.
Right.
That they should just be cast aside. Same, people who are like, oh, the earth's flat, like, or like we shouldn't vaccinate kids against polio and against these like world changing, diseases. They used to be on the fringe, and I think with the internet, but especially social media,
And the algorithm.
The algorithm feeding them whatever it feeds them, it validates their truth, and now their truth is technically the truth, even though they know it's their truth. It's like conspiracy theorists have essentially equated their, gonzo bananas, fringe ideology with the mainstream, and that's why you get RFK.
Right, like the machinery behind it. Instagram, the billionaire-owned media companies have taken these fringe ideas and put them in the mainstream in like the bell curve. Those ideas at the bottom of the bell curve are filling the middle section of the bell curve. It's so dangerous and harrowing and disturbing and like causing murder and destruction. So you and I grew up on Long Island. So we grew up not with Jews. We're Jewish. We were a minority among our community.
We grew up around some Jews.
A handful of Jews.
Yeah.
What Hebrew school did you land in? Because I landed at Temple Isaiah and then really finished out my Hebrew schooling.
I just went to that secular Hebrew school that was held at the community college.
Right.
It wasn't a Hebrew. It was very secular and almost cultural and not really religious. So it was that weekends only Hebrew school at the at Suffolk Community College.
Yeah. So I went to that too, but then
you went to Isaiah.
Yeah.
And actually studied the Torah for your bat mitzvah.
Yeah.
Which I didn't.
Yeah, that's wild. We had different experiences there because that for me was my chance to be around mostly Jews.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And, my current best friend, Annie, I was there with her and was at camp with her too. And I just loved it. It was such a good education, even though it was scary too. We learned about the Holocaust. We learned about it too young. It was so crazy. It was almost inappropriate, but also I was grateful for it because even though I'm a white person, I knew about these genocidal frameworks that, could take any person and make them the scapegoat.
Yeah.
So did you learn about the Holocaust at this Hebrew school?
No, it was just super I think what I remember is just holidays.
It's almost like you were it was just a space to be around progressive Jews.
Yeah, I think that
rather than
sense.
Learn the history.
But I also think it was sort of I don't think mom and dad could afford a traditional temple Hebrew school at that point.
Yeah.
So this was a nice, I guess maybe a way for that what made it affordable.
Yeah. So other than that, we grew up around conservatives. And
right, which I didn't realize until college.
Of course. No, that makes sense. I guess I was kind of, honestly, I think it was because of Hebrew school that I was I could recognize racism, anti-Semitism, homophobia more clearly because I had learned about these systems of hatred leading to genocide, which like I was really afraid of because I remember this like movie about like the Holocaust, and like it started with chicks on a conveyor belt, like going toward, and it was like weird,
chicks,
like baby chicks. And it was like, we're the chicks. And it was like so blunt. And you know, we had a fake pogrom.
What do you mean?
We had a staged pogrom by two Ori and Oren, literally.
At the Hebrew school?
Yes. Ori and Oren were like pulled aside to pretend to be like Nazis, or at the time it was Polish soldiers or whatever. I like tell this story in my first stand-up special because it's so unbelievable. And we didn't know what was happening. We didn't notice Ori and Oren were gone. And then suddenly they're like, we're coming in. Literally staged raiding our Hebrew school room and like turn the lights out without telling us or our parents at Temple Isaiah.
Oh my God.
And we were like so scared. And Annie, in fact, was most scared, was most manipulated to think it was happening, and ran outside in the dark and was like sure that we were all being killed inside.
Did you tell mom and dad?
I think I did, but downplayed it as like something crazy. Whereas Annie's mom called the school and was like, you're out of your fucking minds. You will never be doing that again. That is also ineffective learning. Isn't that
my God.
crazy?
That is insane.
Psychotic.
Immersive theater. That's like Scared Straight.
Truly.
For
and like
Jewish kids? That's insane.
Insane. And like, you know, when I was in 5th grade is when Columbine happened. You were in 9th grade. This is 7th grade. Like mass shootings had already begun.
Yeah.
Like you don't fucking do that.
No, that's so wild. How like they should have like shut down after that. That's like that's nuts.
So crazy. So crazy.
But it is, I mean, there is so much of the fear that's been, I think, very much pumped into us for a long time, which is like, they hate us, they hate us, they hate us, they hate us. It'll happen again. You know, it's like, and so you are, I mean, even though I didn't experience that, it's like, I feel like it was drummed into my head too, that it's like, you know, never forget this because they hate us, they hate us, they hate us, and they'll do it again.
So we worked at the golf club in our town.
Yeah, which was more like a country club of sorts.
Yeah, I was so anxious about doing a good job, and I'm like looking for you, and you're looking like this. You're walking around their like stupid fucking ballroom like this, and then walking around, and you're like, and I was like, where are you going? What are you doing? And you were like, I'm just pretending to be busy. I'm not doing anything. I'm pretending to work. And like I have to go somewhere. I'll be on my way now.
But I was also very protective, and there was a woman who was particularly mean to you
because I messed up her crab cakes.
And so she was a real bitch to you. And so I made sure without, like, there was not a doubt in my mind that I was going to get revenge. And so the very next time we went to work, I made sure to serve her drinks with a little bit of Visine in it to give her massive shits.
Let's hope so. Well, thank you for that, Eliot. Thank you.
Yeah.
There was once a horrible smell there. The second summer, I believe you were no longer there. There was a horrible smell from behind the vending machines. And I was like, guys, something ain't right back here in this $30,000 a head golf club, which didn't include food and drink. It was
that was pay on top of it.
How wealthy are these idiots?
Yeah.
And I was like, there's something not right. And it was true. A rat had gotten stuck behind the vending machine. This fancy fucking, like, clearly, you know, everybody was such a white supremacist. I was like really alit to the white supremacy, the anti-Semitism, from a young age. I don't know. I just
noticed
noticed
that summer, I guess it was like 04 for me. Yeah, I think it must have been 04 because everything was about John Kerry.
Wow.
And I remember that there were some books in like the library there, and there was Rush Limbaugh and Al Franken. And I was fascinated by it, but people wanted to keep Fox News on. And so I'd keep on Fox News and I'd be like watching it. I wasn't like politically aware.
Neither was I.
But I knew from listening to like Air America and like, reading stuff here and there that it was like, oh, this whole like swift vote, like flip flopper thing. It was such a circus. Mm-hmm. It was just so dumb, but people were just so allegiant to.
But we watched the like Fox News. They used to call it like moderate news. They
called it fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. We watched these people become radicalized. We watched the like moderate right go all the way to QAnon. Like our town's library board, this woman wanted to take all the like gay and queer related books in the children's department off the shelves.
Right.
And like gay
and
books.
They did.
And then Smithtown showed up.
Yeah.
And they immediately reversed it because it was like, it's not like sexualizing kids. It's about like gay families, which exist, and everybody should have exposure, even if you have straight
But
parents.
That's the brattiness around it, where it's like, just because you don't like it, you don't like that things are changing, you don't like that things are different from you, doesn't mean that you automatically throw a tantrum and win.
Right.
You just don't get everything you want.
And the only way to counterbalance that is to show up and say no.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely fucking not. And also it's like, you don't have to be gay.
Right.
Nobody's making you be gay.
Nobody's making you be gay. Nobody's making you have an abortion. Nobody's making you do anything.
So leave everybody else the fuck alone and go fill your void however you fill it.
Find something else to. That's my thing. It's like, go find something else. There's also a video from when we were kids of you. You're like, I'm writing a journalism, and you're like writing an essay on a chalkboard, and I'm like monitoring you as you write it. But then, as you read it, it's like you're reading it. It's about like you're talking about like, don't be prejudiced, don't be mean, don't be prejudiced.
Right.
And then you go and you're like in the Long Island accent. You go, don't bother people. And I think about it all the time because it's like it's so simple. Don't bother people.
Don't bother people.
I mean, you must have been like, not even like 5, maybe 6, and you're like, don't bother people. Don't be prejudiced, don't be mean, don't be racist, don't bother people. And I'm like, that's how I feel now. Leave people alone. The obsession with trans people, especially
holy shit,
kids and their genitals,
Jesus.
Is like, why are you giving a moment's thought to trans kids and their genitals?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting. This person in government, Nancy Mace, she has a crusade against trans children, really against children. Let's just put it out there. Trans children are children. Just a crusade against children. And had this bill she was trying to pass about having children's genitals inspected at school, which includes cis children or children who don't identify as trans. I like, this is in my blurry memory, and I don't remember the exact bill, but some bill was connected to her. And then meanwhile, she voted for the big brutal bill that took food off of children's plates. It's just cruelty, and it affects cis children as well. If that's your big weaponization or criminalizing trans children, well, cis children will have their genitals inspected too.
But why is that on the forefront of your mind?
It's disgusting.
And why is that your cross to bear? And why is that the journey you choose to take?
It's disgusting.
It's so weird. I guess it didn't ultimately work, but when people started saying during the 24 election
during
cycle,
Coconuts era,
right? When people started saying, calling Republicans weird, I loved it.
It was so effective.
It was so effective.
They are
it was like,
weird.
You guys are so weird.
You are so weird.
Hyper focusing on the strangest things.
And the thing of like, don't bother people. It's like, yeah, it's weird. Well, let's talk about your book. Okay, so you have a book coming out.
This is my own first memoir-style autobiographical funny essays.
Okay, tell us what it's called.
The Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Gay.
I love it. And Eliot, this book poured out of you.
It did, yeah, because it feels like for years I've been trying to synthesize my feeling of like isolation or feeling like an alien or a weirdo among other gay people. And like, I never felt fully out of it, but just like there's been things that made me feel like I missed the first day of class. Just things that are like, wait, we do that? Like, and that happens? Like, I don't know, and I just don't get it, but okay, you know, we'll figure it out. So these essays kind of poured out of me because even though I've tried to synthesize these feelings in like TV shows and just different types of projects, doing it long form and really getting to express all of it felt truly like cathartic.
And it just felt like, this medium that had been calling you. You know, one example where you like missed the first day of class was when all the gay guys from LA were going to Puerto Vallarta.
We were on vacation, and I was like looking on Instagram, and I'm like, where are all these guys? Like, and they're guys that we both know, and I'm like, they're all on vacation together in, where's Puerto Vallarta? And I never put together that was a thing. This like post-Christmas, pre-New Year's destination for all these gay guys. I just didn't know. And like, you'd think I would know. Like, I'm an adult man in like a city with lots of gay friends. And I'm like, where is Puerto Vallarta? And so that was sort of the first, for whatever reason, at an advanced age, I was like, oh, look at all this gay tourism. Like, I knew about Fire Island, and I've been there. I know about Palm Springs, I've been there, but like really seeing that, like, oh, Puerto Vallarta, Mykonos, like there's different places that seem to just attract gay guys in droves, that I was like, when did that happen?
There's also this like financial access thing that I always forget about, and you're like, oh yeah, they're rich. You know what I mean? Where you're
gay guys, you know, I think overwhelmingly have more of a disposable income, especially without the pressure to have kids, you know?
Or at least the most visible gay narrative is being rich.
That's
it's not even like...
That's not true across the board.
Yeah.
It's just the most visible narrative. And that's where like these gay tourist destinations, or, you know, I always see like all these other gay guys in huge groups on Instagram, like all of them on vacation together, taking these big group photos where they all look interchangeable and they're all wearing the same type of bathing suit, where I was like, wait, we all wear that? Like, all these things that have just constantly been like, no one told me, you know? And like part of me wants to be asked, but I know I probably wouldn't enjoy it anyway. But a little part of me wants to be asked.
I totally get it.
But that's where the book comes from.
Yeah.
Where it's like, huh? We do that?
I love that little disparity. Like, I do want to be asked.
I have to, but that's a thing that I've had to contend with
and
come to terms with. I do want to be asked.
Because, you know, I've watched you struggle with internalized homophobia that you spewed outward at like the gay male community, and things that like make sense, you know, that
when I was younger.
Yeah. And I get it too, the pressures and whatever. And I, you know, I guess I had like a very strong sense of my values at a young age, such that I was a feminist, and I was, you know, I was like anti-racist. Don't bother people when I was like 6 years old. But I think where internalized homophobia and internalized misogyny meet is sometimes where we would clash. And there was, you know, there used to be this thing of like, oh God, the JJ in the early 2000s.
Sure.
It was hard to be teenagers in the early 2000s. Really fucking violent. Like literally Jeffrey Epstein was trafficking young white girls from... At fucking Dalton. Like
city.
Rich white girls.
Yeah.
And gay guys were, you know, supposed to be hairless, like fish, skinny fish.
Yeah.
And, you know, there was... you being, you know, like not into women, but sometimes in a rude way really bothered me. And I have one really salient memory of leaving my used tampons on a piece of computer paper.
To get back at me for something.
Outside
my bedroom door. I don't remember what you wrote on it, but it was like, oh, great, cool. This is revenge, a bloody tampon. Did it throw me? Not really. Your way to get back at me. Like, oh my God.
And also like, what did I want you to be attracted to? Like respect vaginas, I guess. I guess respect vaginas.
A big like shift for me was, I remember when we were at your apartment in Park Slope, and I was like, oh, you got to watch Real Housewives with me. And you were like, I don't want to watch this. And it was like early Real Housewives of New York, which was genuinely so funny. But
and I did watch some early stuff, early until it.
But then you said you're like, but every scene seems to be edited with this like unspoken dialogue that ends with "you dumb bitch." Every scene, it's like this happens. Jill does this, Kelly does this, and the editor's basically saying like, "You dumb bitch." And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, you were right. It's like, oh, now I see it. It's like, even though it was like a wink in editing, at large, the idea of women in general being looked at as like, you dumb bitch, you know, especially in like the 2000s,
right.
It was like, oh, this makes sense.
And some of them had humanity behind them and lovable characteristics, but like the framework was always misogynist.
Yes.
And so it's so funny that it was petty and demeaning, but like that's now how our government is. Like in my mind, I'm like, men would never be edited that way, but it's like they literally act that way, like in congressional hearings.
Yeah, they act like brats, like divas.
Yeah, it's too much.
Actually, to that point, one of the chapters in the book is about queer joy, and how I think last year you were like, "Where do you find your queer joy?" And I was like,
"No,
what?
Can I tell you? I was like, what do you love about yourself that is gay? That isn't, you know? Because sometimes I've seen you like struggle with it, and I'm like, but what do you love about yourself?
Yeah,
and you like weren't sure what I meant, but I was like, even like your music, your incredible taste in music, ability to consume and curate music and make music and sing, and you dance so well."
Yeah, but also to that point, it was like understanding when you're talking about like queer joy and my taste in music, I was like, oh, I didn't really put together what you meant. And then it was like, oh, I get it. There's an unapologetic, I have no apologies to make and never had for loving queer
but Anita Baker at 7 years old.
Yeah.
Luther Vandross as like a child.
But that was like unapologetically queer.
Yes.
But then even as I got older, it's like I never, ever, ever made any sort of apology for really being into, you know, queer-coded, girly, pop girly music, you know? Ultimately, like, I never thought I would have to apologize for, like, liking Whitney Houston or Mariah or, like... So I use that chapter to be like, oh, here are other examples besides, like, music where I'm doing gay right. Because the rest of the book is how I'm often doing gay wrong, but I do gay right in terms of loving the first 2 seasons of The Real Housewives of New York. I'm not interested in the Housewives now. I find it all to be overproduced and it's all self-produced and everything's a marketing opportunity, whereas the first 2 seasons of The Housewives, they didn't know how to be on TV.
Yeah, they're pure.
They had regular teeth even, you know, like they had their old teeth. And it's like they didn't know how to be on TV, and that's where true camp lies to me.
Right.
Not anymore. I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
You know? But also, like, you know, short shorts. I make no apology for wearing like Daisy Dukes.
You're
I love
gorgeous.
Daisy Dukes.
You're fucking gorgeous. Like literally, you know, I'm even thinking like the gym, like you used to have such pressure on yourself and have such crazy body dysmorphia. It's so painful to like really hold it. My sweet brother having this like body dysmorphia, but now it seems like you're like in your damn skin.
Yeah, I mean, sure.
You're gorgeous.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
But also the
he got legs, you know, and he knows how to use them.
Yeah, but the gay male, the fact that gay guy, again, this is something I learned later, that gay guys refer to the gym as church. When I found that out, I was like, oh, that is such a bummer that our religion, our house of worship is the gym, because vanity and body dysmorphia, it is paramount. And I am a full 100% pledged devotee, and it's awful.
But like you don't feel like, I admire your dedication to the gym. I admire that you work out 5 times a week. You always say, I admire that. And it's like, yeah, but it's couched in, you know, toxic body patterns. Still?
Yeah. Especially in LA, but even so, like
you don't feel strong.
I do feel strong.
Do you feel hot?
I feel attractive, but it does feel like, and I'm just saying it for myself, but I think gay guys in total would tell you that like the pressure we put on ourselves is a burden. And so when you're like, I admire your like health choices, it's like I would love if that were the vocabulary I was using too, but it really is to just like keep up with everybody else.
Well, I feel like you have been a part of gay male culture opening up to a place where it's not, and also no offense to the old queer eye for the straight guy, but it was like this one way. There was like homosexuals and metrosexuals. Was this like middle area or something?
Yes, where it gave straight guys the allowance and permission to have vanity or to care about their looks.
Put a hair product in. Wear
skin.
A V-neck.
Yeah, but then in the book there is a whole chapter about when they did reboot the show, I got an email from my manager saying, "Would you be interested in like submitting as a TV personality?" And I'm like, "Huh? Like to do what? Like I don't cook, my hair's fine, my clothes are from Target. Like I don't know what expertise do I have? I don't even know." So I passed, which was so stupid. Because I'd be taking a private plane back to LA if I didn't pass. But so there's a whole chapter about like what my I call it the lazy queer eye, and like what my lazy queer eye would look like if I applied myself to fashion and fashion and cooking and hair care and face regimen, skin regimens. But even that too, it's like
that's so
I don't think
smart.
I knew until 40 that like my friends were like, "You have to use moisturizer. Like you have to moisturize." And I'm like, "Why?" But it's like it feels like another thing. It's like moisturizing and face masks. I didn't know.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, nobody told me. And that sounds bratty because it's like, no one deserves to tell you. But I just was like, oh, we all do this too? I didn't know about face masks.
My hair, like I didn't know to put product in my hair because hair space is segregated. So no white people knew what to do with my hair to tell me, load it up with product. You have curls. I look like fucking great Uncle Harry if I don't like load it up with product.
Well, the weirder thing too is like I would always complain and say like I hate my Jew hair.
Yeah.
Hate my Jew hair because it was like bristly.
Yeah.
I hated it.
Yeah.
And it's changed over time, but I used to say it to Dad as if to like guilt him for having bristly hair. But then we also had Grandma who would, when you were a child with curly, big curly hair, she would go, "Your hair is wild."
I know.
And it's like, why are you saying that?
It made me be like, fuck, I'm a wild beast.
Then when you would straighten your hair, I'd be like, it looks so nice.
Like the fried ends sticking out. Like I look like Edward Scissorhands.
I think people don't know, and nor why would they? But there is such a specific faction of like Long Island girls, especially from when we grew up, who would like flatten their hair. It was like crisp, and it was like such a specifically like self-hating act.
The girls know though, because it's like all different girls from all different backgrounds who poorly straightened their hair, hoping it would have movement. It didn't have movement.
Yeah, there was no movement.
It was just like two fingers pointed down, and, at best, just down-turned fingers. It was terrible.
It was such a thing. But even the idea of like the sort of ubiquitous male erotica that I see, like usually with older gay guys, but I've always noticed like with any gay guy in their home, I'm always like, huh, like I would never think to have like a man's armpit, photographed, and like it just doesn't. It's like never struck me. I don't judge it. Like I'm not mad.
I like it, and I kind of wish I had it.
Yeah, you do. I just don't. It's just an observation. Like, am I supposed to have like a giant photo of like pubes because I'm gay? I didn't know. I didn't know, and so that's sort of like the vibe of the book.
It's so funny.
Like Liz Lemon.
Yeah,
a Liz Lemon introduction to like what gay is and how I do it pretty bad.
Yeah, it's awesome.
I do it better than I used to, but it's still just like, that's gay?
But I think doing it better than you used to just means being yourself.
Yeah.
We've been talking for years and years about like gay minstrelsy in the comedy scene. And, it's like there was this like question for a while, like, should I be leaning into that reductive nature? And it's like, it's just not you. It just doesn't work when it's inauthentic, and if it's authentic to that person, go with God.
But even when I get casting calls and I read I get like scripts and I'll read them and I'm like, so I got this because the character is gay. I would sound homophobic if I was reading this. I would sound homophobic because it's like, it's just not, it's not in me to be like that bitch, or to be like, honey, it's like, people would be like, you're not allowed to say that, you know. It would come off sounding bad,
right?
You know,
right.
I can be a bitch, or I can be like, you know, I can have that, but it doesn't sound right coming out of my mouth. It sounds homophobic,
right?
But even when I'm like annoyed with, or just like, you know, I feel like ruffled by like gay guys or like gay culture in general. Even when I feel that way, I still feel so much safer with that community. There is safety there, and there is community there. Even if I feel like I don't fit in, or awkward, or aloof, I still feel happy that I'm there and I get to participate in that.
And like, how delicious and delightful was Heated Rivalry?
Heated Rivalry, I thought it was going to be like too much hype, you know. So, but early on, I was like, it just seemed like the hype was getting so big that I was like, I don't know, you know. I just didn't believe I didn't necessarily go in thinking I would be as into it as I was. Immediately hooked, and not just because the show was like remarkably hot and sexy. That obviously was its own thing that I think lured people in, but I was like getting weepy at the tenderness and the romance. And it's like, and the reason that it's such a huge hit is because it's not just the sex stuff. It is definitely because getting to see a shame-free, tender, loving, actual romantic connection between these two characters, even if they're having their relationship in secret, is refreshing. I mean, I don't think it would work if those two actors weren't so good and had such chemistry. Like, that's a lightning in a bottle, too.
That's right.
But, like, I'm tearing up during the sex scenes because it's so loving.
Me too. Jacob Tierney really knocked it out of the park because it was all those things, but smart.
Yeah, it was smart. And it was also, like, tasteful. And the lighting is beautiful. The music is perfect. It's like it's perfect.
Oh, that was so good. Thank you, Eliot Glazer, for joining me today. I love you. And thanks to the whole tribe that made this episode possible. I want to thank my creative producers, Madeline Kim, Glennis Meagher, Annika Carlson, Kelsie, Kiley, and David Rooklin. I want to thank our editor, Tovah Leibowitz. I want to thank the good people, the artists who made this show look and sound so damn good. I want to thank Kevin Deming for the lighting, Lexa Krebs for the camera work and the cinematography, and Nicole Maupin for making us sound so good. Thank you to Raymo Ventura for the graphics and the opening musical sting, and thank you to the band, Don Her, for this outro music. Please join our community. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for joining me. And if you'd like to, follow us on itsopenpod on Instagram, subscribe to this channel, and like and comment and be part of the community. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.